Mercy, mercy, mercy. It doesn't get any better than a Bo Diddley groove for just wailing on the guitar. Basically, to play Bo Diddley rhythm, you don't want to be too worried about technique in the traditional sense the guitar players use it today, which is single line facility, being able to move around the neck very fast. Bo Diddley was not about playing fast licks. It was all about rhythm. And the rhythm of the Bo Diddley beat goes and has been traced all the way back to Africa. A common ancestor that most people are familiar with is just shave and a haircut, 2 bits, you know, knocking on somebody's door. The bolero rhythm, so-called juba dance, the ham bone, you know. These are all predecessors of the Bo Diddley beat. Now, what it is when you boil it right down is basically this. It's 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a 2-bar phrase, and notice that I counted it in 2, not in 4. You can count it in 4, but the traditional feel is a so-called 2 beat. So 1, 2, 1, 2. If you strip it way down and it's just, it's the clave beat, which you hear in the bolero rhythm of Cuba. But on the guitar, that upstroke is part of the intrinsic sound of the rhythm. Now, when Bo Diddley played that rhythm, his guitar, his main guitar for which he was known was a Gretsch, and he played it in the middle position. Now, this is obviously not a Gretsch, but this is of the same vintage. This guitar was around when Bo Diddley made his first record, believe it or not. And so it's got a similar kind of a quality to it. It's got that hollow thing going on, and I have it in the middle position using both pickups. So you get that kind of hollow quality. That's really kind of what you're looking for. Not too hard edged, not too pointed, not too mid-rangey. You want it to be sort of big and round. Now, the other thing that was characteristic of Bo's sound, inseparable from his sound, was the way it was recorded. He recorded for Chess Records, and Chess was famous for their use of a certain reverb chamber that they had that was very cool, an echo chamber, and also the use of tape delay. And the result was they would make that guitar sound jump and, you know, like vibrate. So here I've got reverb here on my pedal, and I've got some delay, which is sort of like a tape delay, right? Now, the secret ingredient in the Bo Diddley sound is tremolo, right? And you make that note vibrate a little bit, and you add the tremolo and the delay, that little very short delay, like 100 millisecond delay, and that big soupy reverb, and suddenly what begins as a very simple rhythm becomes much more complex just from the way it kind of bounces around on itself. So the way Bo would typically play the rhythm wouldn't be to play it exactly the same each time. Scientifically, he would sort of play around the rhythm. So here's a typical style of Bo Diddley rhythm. I'll play it by myself first, okay? It goes like this. 2, 1, 2. So you notice I'm varying the rhythm somewhat, placing my accents in different places, but you still feel in that second bar that bop, bop, that downbeat, which is what ties the whole rhythm together, okay? Now, Bo Diddley's solos were also unusual. Bo was not a technical lead guitar player, so when he soloed, he would tend to use chords, and he'd some kind of he'd sort of make up little chord patterns and whatnot. There was some lead guitar on his recordings, and often played by other guys who were players at Chess Records, like Jody Williams. But when Bo took solos, he tended to play chords and play them melodically. So he would do stuff like play that G chord, and then just lay his third finger down and create a little melodic movement on the top end of the chord. right? And just play a short pattern like that and then alternate with the main rhythm. Another variation typical of Bo Diddley, play the G major, move it down 2 frets, F major, and back up again, and kind of like. And then taking it up literally a couple of steps higher, playing G, and here I'm playing the B on the 2nd string, D on the 1st string. It's like the top part of a G major chord. Again, G to F. This time I'm going to play quarter note triplets. Now, quarter note triplets are 3 in the space of 2. So you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, and the triplet dot 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 dot, right? And so it sets up this kind of cross rhythm, a polyrhythm, if you will. Goes a little something like this: 2, 1, 2. All right, let's try it with the rhythm track for a second. I'm going to play to the same beat. And it's worth noting, by the way, that a lot of the early Bo Diddley records, there was no bass. It was a drummer playing mainly tom-toms, and then a guy named Jerome playing shakers. And that was the rhythm section, and the rest of it was Bo's guitar, but it added up to something pretty cool. So check it out. I'm going to play a little bit of the rhythm, and then I'll solo using those techniques. Okay, here we go. Now, Bo Diddley was known by the beat which bears his name, and so the impression that you might get is that everything he cut had the Bo Diddley beat on it, and that's as far as his sound went. But the fact is, he recorded lots of different stuff with lots of different rhythms. He was a very eclectic guy, in fact, in terms of his rhythms. Some of the other songs for which Bo is known, one of them was the flip side of Bo Diddley, and it was called I'm a Man. And Bo's own rhythm part was pretty simple on that one, right? Like that. Now, what I've done is I've kind of spiffed it up a little bit by borrowing a little bit from the harmonica line, which is on the recording, which is very, very hip, and created a larger rhythm part, which is the kind of rhythm you can use on any blues song that has this beat. And there are several of them that are similar, very influential songs. So the idea is that you're going to play the G chord. Now I'm using my thumb on the low string, and then playing the G triad up on top, very typical voicing there. Now what I'm going to do is drag the pick upward, and then lay my 3rd finger flat, never lift up the thumb, right? So now inside that chord I hammer on from B flat to B. So very slowly. Let's try that one to the rhythm track, okay? And so on and so on. That's the whole song right there. Harmonica solo, whatever else happens, that is the foundation of that song. And you just get into it. It's like reggae. You get into it hypnotically and let that beat just drive the whole song for the however long it lasts. Now, another thing that Bo was known for, one of his often covered songs is called Who Do You Love? And people tend to cover Who Do You Love with the Bo Diddley beat, but in fact, Who Do You Love, as recorded by Bo, was more of a 2-beat. And the 2-beat, although the Bo Diddley beat is a 2-beat, the 2-beat that Bo used on this one was more like a country beat. Now that's not dissimilar to the same beat that Chuck Berry used on his first hit record, Maybelline. So if you want to play in the style of Who Do You Love, you're actually going to play a very up-tempo 2-beat, and it'll sound something like this with the rhythm track. And so on. It's a very up-tempo, energetic kind of groove. You wouldn't hear a country band play it like that at all, but that's sort of the rhythm that Bo brought to it. So it's basically, and it was in A-flat, and then lay your finger down for that D-flat sound, and you sort of get that alternating effect, which is similar to what you hear on Who Do You Love. So kind of a different twist on the 2-beat. Now another one of the songs that Bo was famous for was a rock and roll song called Road Runner. And Road Runner was based on a big fat E chord lick, a bass lick. You could say this is kind of proto hard rock. This comes out of a tradition which was founded by Ike Turner when he did Rocket 88, which was also based on a big fat bass lick. This is a few years after that Bo came out with Road Runner. And this is in the style of that song. This will be something that you probably recognize in terms of feel, if not the actual notes. But I'll play it for you and then break it down. Okay, let's hear it with the rhythm track. You get the idea. Now, what that is a lick based on the it's the walking bass line, which was the prevalent bass line in blues of the 1940s and 50s, still is really, and it's just a variation on that played with more aggression. Now, the band stops on that A chord, and that's where Bo becomes Bo Diddley. He starts playing tricks with the guitar. So in this case, just rubbing his hand up the low string there, he would do a pick scratch. You know, he'd play on the strings above the nut, or create a rhythm using his hands and muting the strings. He was a showman. He used the guitar as a percussion instrument. So during that kind of a break, anything could happen. So what I did in there, just use my thumb to grab a couple of notes and then bring the rhythm back in. Very typical of the Bo Diddley style. So anyway, I hope this has been an enlightening lesson for you. This music is a lot of fun to play. It's a lot of fun to play in a band. You know, it just feels good. And it's something that you can play without having to spend a whole lot of time studying the guitar. And, you know, that's one of the coolest aspects of it, I think. All right, I'm going to take you out with a little bit more Road Runner. All right, see you next time.